Yo, guys, what's up? How are we doing? We're back again with another video. Of course, we're talking with Charkie from the Oakmont. He told me before we got started here that we might be in for a little bit of bearish news. And guys, if you enjoy this session, if you're thinking, hey, maybe I want to get some one-on-one sessions, learn a little bit more with other people, whether it's crypto, stocks, all the fun lingo that we go throughout this, be sure to check them out on Twitter at the Oakmont to be a part of their community. Charkie, how are we doing today? And what are we going to be talking about?
Hey, good morning, Vaughn. We're doing good. We're doing good. We're going to be, jumping into obviously Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then just kind of discussing how the movement of those crypto coins are going to be affecting some of the projects coming up soon with the NFTs. So obviously, we definitely always want to start with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the leader in our industry as far as movement with coins. So we've been discussing for the last couple of days this bearish flag that's set up. It's a triangle that's been moving upwards. So we're obviously at the bottom of the support of that triangle. So I went ahead and removed some of my indicators just so we can see the actual chart itself. But you can see that we've hit this mark 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going down to the 6th time. But if you notice, right here where we're sitting at between the $39,000 and $40,000 level, there's kind of been a little bit of a stop here, right? Price is not breaking through, going downward with a lot of volume. So it does show that there's a little bit of support. So while our, mid to short term basis might be bearish, short term we might actually be bullish in terms of moving up to retest that level. So just looking at the chart itself, again, right now, if we do hold the $39,000 to $40,000 level, then we'll probably start trickling back upward to retest this level up here at around $49,000 to $50,000. So before we jump onto other charts, I wanted to just quickly discuss some of the indicators that I use to give people a quick little glimpse at how I make these decisions and what I go through. So in the videos past, we've talked about Elliott Wave, we talked about the Wyckoff method. To me, those are all stories, those are ideas that are created, right? They give us forecasts as far as where prices can go. Also with these resistances, right? I'm telling you right now, we can hit 50,000. I'm telling you also that we can hit 32,000. The indicators will confirm that belief for us. So I want to go real quick just to show you guys. And yes, you can apply this to crypto. You can even apply it to NFTs. Anything that has a chart with price movements and date and time, you'll be able to use this. So this first one is called CCI. It's a commodity channel index. Again, when I teach people these indicators, I don't spend a lot of time on history and who created it and what the algorithm is. Basically, how do you use it? This one's very simple. When it gets below this negative 100 line and breaks to the upside, it's bullish, right? So here's one point, here's another point, and then here we are again, another point. If you notice, each time that spot, it correlates with an upside. Here's an upside, here's an upside, and now here we're going to be with an upside. Very straightforward. The opposite is true for the bears. When it breaks down below this positive 100 level, headed downward, we get to move to the downside. Same thing here to the downside, and then same thing here, here, and then to the downside. So again, CCI, one of my favorites, very simple to read. So right now, CCI is showing us a short-term bullish move up for Bitcoin. The other one I have down here is called Stock RSI. Everybody knows about RSI, Relative Strength Index. Kind of works the same way as CCI. What we're looking is for this blue and orange line to cross above this $20 level. And if you see here, here's a cross. We're going to move upward. And again, we're about to cross here again on Stock RSI. Again, it also works the same way on the bearish side. When you break below this line, prices tend to fall. Same thing here and same thing here. You can even go back and do what we call back testing and test these out. And you'll see that for the majority of the charts, that will remain true. So again, short term, I think we do move to the upside. I do think that this kind of level supports, holds up, and we get a little bit of a positive move upward. It makes sense as well. We talked last time, April tends to be a bullish month for stocks and now I guess for crypto. So hopefully we do extend that move this month.
Now, one thing that I've seen a lot on NFT Twitter, at least, and I know this might be a little bit of a side thing, but regarding Ape Coin, have you noticed that it kind of follows any pattern? Like with Bitcoin moves, Ape moves. We've had a lot of talk regarding, people thinking, hey, like now is the time to get into that token because it's going to, rip with the Yuga Labs sale, and there's going to be like all these extenuating factors. But I mean, we've had such a correlation where we have, whenever crypto moves, we have certain things that go up a little bit higher. And one kind of pairing for tokens I've seen is for Ape and Looks Rare, the NFT marketplace. It seems that every time that moves, they seem to kind of be up or down pretty much the exact same. So I'm curious if Ape is correlated really, to Bitcoin, anything else particularly in the crypto market, or potentially it's its own beast with, all these different things coming out at different times regarding the utility for it.
So there's actually a way we can test that. So if we look at Bitcoin, for instance, it's been stuck in a channel since the beginning of the year. Hasn't broken above 50,000, hasn't broken below 35,000, right? In the last couple of days, we saw a dump happen at 48,000 on March 29th, and now we're starting to support. So if we go to Ape and we look at this chart, we do kind of see a similar pattern, right? It's had a very short-term life, right? It's only been around for a little bit less than a month. But what I've noticed about Ape is that it moves very impulsively compared to other charts. You see these blue roadmaps. These are basically just channels, right? Price channels. And what I've noticed is that when it moves upward, it stays in that channel for a good amount of time. When it moves downward, it doesn't really bounce around a lot in that time frame. So we're back in a channel right now. Obviously, with a daily chart, you're not going to see much. So I like to go down to a 2-hour chart to get a better look. And you can see, just like Bitcoin, it's having a positive move upward as far as the indicators. It's finding support also on that channel. So right now, yeah, and you can say this about, I would say 95% of altcoins or other meme coins, they do tend to follow Bitcoin. So it's very hard for a coin to move up when Bitcoin is going down and vice versa. So yeah, I do see a continued move upward. I actually had pinpointed around a $16 price target for Ape in the next maybe 2-3 weeks. So definitely
spicy. Okay, no, that's super interesting. Yeah, because I mean, like just the speculation for it. You're talking about it moving kind of like impulsively, like. I feel like there's like somewhat of a correlation when everybody's talking extremely bullish or bearish on it on Twitter. But I mean, like throughout the whole thing, we have a lot of people saying, "Oh, we're buying it." And I was seeing things on my timeline that looked like people were spending $100,000 plus on buys. But like when you go and look at the coin, it really wasn't moving a whole lot. So I figured, you need some solid cash to be able to really move it.
Yeah, for Ape, I do think that it relies a lot on hype. Those that are probably invested in Ape know a lot about it and probably have a Bored Ape. I don't see a lot of speculative or a lot of commercial retail buyers buying in on Ape. If it does start to get the volume behind it, like the way that Dogecoin did and SHIB did last year, I do think that it can have an explosive move. I've seen analysts that have targets of like $100, $150 for Ape, which to me makes sense because of everything that the team has added, like you said about Yuga Labs, all the utility that they're adding. I think it does have something to stand for versus coins like SHIB and Dogecoin.
So I want to throw you kind of a curveball here because there's some that I've been watching pretty intently within the NFT space, and that's the coins that come out through these different projects. And obviously not all of them are going to do really good or, be kind of top of the charts like Ape here. But apparently for Ape, there's about 45,000 holders right now. But for Wolf Game, which is another play to earn game that's out there, even though I know Ape isn't really that yet. But for it's called Wool. I don't know if it's going to end up showing really on any charts besides just like CoinGecko or something. Oh, there you go. And so Wool or Ape has the 45,000, right? And then Wool apparently has 5,000 holders. And then apparently for POW, which is the Pixel Vault ecosystem token, they have like, I think it's like 1,500 holders. And for that, I'm like, wow, that's a lot. And again, like POW, because it's so small in that kind of sense, even though, again, that company has like $1 billion valuation, a ton of massive funding coming in for it and whatnot. Is there any kind of correlation you've seen in the past? I know we're kind of like talking about charts, and this might be a little bit of a side, but between the amount of holders of a token and then the price rising, like, is it something where when we look at those three tokens where you have Ape at 45,000 holders, Wool at 5,000, and then POW at 1,500, and if you can assume that, hey, POW is going to have, some of the traction that these other two are having, that price could end up moving up, or does it have really anything to do with holders?
Well, I do think that holders obviously have an impact on price. It may not be the price that the movement we want to. I think the focus rather than holders is trading. I think the number of trades that are happening ultimately is more important in the move that you're going to get with a specific coin. So the more trading that coin does, the more the rise that you'll see in price level. I'm trying to rise up this volume here, but can't get it to rise. But anyway, generally when you're looking at movements in coins or crypto or stocks, volume usually tells you a lot of the movement. So if you look at Bitcoin right now, you see that we're struggling to move upward, right? We're in this wedge that continues to rise upward. So people might think, well, yeah, it's going to break through and it's going to move upward. But if you look at volume of trading, it's actually decreasing. So when you get decreasing volume and increasing prices, that's a bearish divergence. The volume is telling you a different story than the prices. So what probably will happen is that we'll go back up and retest this and then come down and fail it. So when you're looking at those coins that are coming from projects, I think the more important thing to look at is the number of trades that are happening within that coin. I know that there's other apps that we can use to analyze that. I don't have that on me right now, but maybe for next week we can take a look at that, because we did do that with Wool. We did that with what was the other gold mining game, Gold Hunt, I think it was called. I'm always a little bit wary of that, but because of what happened with crypto, specifically with SHIB and Doge, I would like to say that we should be a little bit more open-minded with these type of projects, because ultimately that's when you're going to make those insane, 100 to 1,000% X gains in projects like that. So while the chart may not show that, I think that those are definitely projects that are very news reliant and hype reliant. So I don't want to say don't trade them, but I would just use a lot of caution and definitely make sure that the utility that's used behind the coin is something that you're going to be involved in. Because a lot of times these moves happen in a day or two, and you can lose a lot of those gains if you're not paying attention. So, Bitcoin, obviously, with this wedge moving upward, we're waiting to see if it's going to break through the downside. I think this is a very easy place to trade it. You set up a simple risk and reward. So if I were to buy Bitcoin now, I would sell it at 37,000, somewhere around there, in terms of taking losses. But profitability, it's at 50,000. So I'm risking 3,000 to gain 10,000. So that's around a 3-to-1 ratio as far as risk to reward. So that's a good one. Like I said, start with Bitcoin, start on a daily chart. From there, we move on to Ethereum. And you look at ETH and it's doing the same thing. It's the same sort of wedge. It hasn't reached the bottom of or the top of each of these levels yet. It does look like it wants to trickle down, at least retest this level before either going upward or fading down. I still have this bearish, and we talked about this last week. I still have this bearish target of around $1,700 for Ethereum. But I mean, I hope it doesn't reach there, but it's definitely a possibility right now.
That'd be wild to see within the space, because it feels cheap for ETH. But I mean,
Yeah.
we're looking at it from like NFT terms. So
yeah, and if we look at ETH, back in 2020, it was hanging around 300, right? It was at 100 and so forth, and we never thought we'd get to these levels. But it shows you the impact of institutional buying. And I want to remind people as well, big price movements like this do not happen from retail traders. You guys don't get mistaken, right? The Reddit army and the SHIB army, the Dogecoin army, they don't make these prices move. Big billionaires, trillionaires make these prices move like this. So they're the ones trading this now. We have become the small fish. We were involved all the way back down here. So we're not going to impact. So, Joe from Wisconsin buying $500 worth of Dogecoin is not going to impact the chart at all. So do start using more, professional analysis, technical analysis, fundamental analysis to start studying the charts, because they're going to show more than anything you'll find on Twitter or on Reddit.
It's so cool going over these charts and seeing those different patterns and whatnot. Like after, and again, for anyone that's potentially just tuning in for this episode, if you scroll back to some of the other videos, we've gone over Elliott Wave and several other ones to kind of like depict, hey, here's the different lines, and you can see like right across for the bottom one on the red of like that retesting. And so the next one's the yellow, and I mean, arguably, Charky, the kind of thing here is like if it goes down, you imagine that it would kind of hover around that yellow line, or if it doesn't, that means that we're just going bearish, right?
Yeah, so for me, if I'm trading Ethereum right now, obviously I'm holding at these levels. I'm not selling. I'm not panicking. Right? I'm not doing anything. But the minute that it gets to somewhere around, let's say 27,000, 27 and a half, around there, this yellow line, I would start to reconsider my position short term, because once it falls through, I remember when we talk about support and resistances, you have to consider them like floors and ceilings. So if I'm here happy standing on the second floor, right, this is me right here, and the floor underneath me breaks, I'm going to fall to the next floor, and I'm going to get supported by whatever that floor is. So if you look here, the next floor that we have indicated here is this low in January 24th, which is at 21,000. So it can fall pretty fast from there. And if it falls below that, the next support is right here. As you can see, one support there, a bunch of support here is at the $1,600 level. And if anybody's wondering what these numbers mean, these are Elliott Wave impulsive and corrective waves. So if we look at the kind of a pattern that we're shooting for, it's something like this with a 1, a 2, a big 3, corrective 4, and then a wave down to 5. That's the possibility. Okay. What would undo this is a break of the 1 level. So if we were to break above 3,900, then this bearish target is off. So we can still do this, though. This is what I want to caution people about. We can still curve upward to this level and then break down, because this trend continues on. So we can still hit 39,000 and then fail. So again, there's a lot of what I like. I want to coin this as buyer beware right now. If you're gonna enter, have very short stop losses in terms of Ethereum. But again, Vaughn, it's very hard to really make a bearish case because of the number of projects that are coming out, because of the number of things that are being built on ETH. I just don't see it being bearish for this long. But then again, I don't know if you've seen the news, but we have another COVID breakout happening again. Shanghai, right, in China, they have something like 25 million people in lockdown right now. There's a bunch of things being reported in New York about mask mandates coming back. So if we have another, something like that happen, we could see a quick little flash dump to these levels. But again, I'm going to continue to buy. I'm going to continue to move forward. But definitely use caution as you guys are entering right now.
Yeah, all right, love it. Now, Charky, if there's one thing you want people to take away from this kind of talk right now, what do you think it'd be?
Again, just use caution. Make sure that you have realistic goals for yourself. Try not to target the tops and bottoms of the market. Sometimes you'll get it right, but most often you'll get it wrong. Do what we call a dollar cost average, right? DCA. Just add as you go along. The lower it goes, the cheaper prices you're going to get. And if you consistently add to your position, you're going to be able to be better off once we do come back up. But most of all, if you guys do need any support, if you do need any guidance, we do offer one-on-one training. We do have daily and weekly live streams within our group. So visit us at the Oakmont. We are one of the first, if not the first, Discord groups to move from a standard membership to an NFT token gated access community. So there are only 2,054 tokens available. So our group will never be larger than that, because that's what I believe we have, in terms of our capability to be able to train and support people. If you guys have ever been on any Discord groups, they usually post blind signals and hope that you get lucky. We focus more on education, and we're actually going to be releasing our first series of metaverse spatial recordings next month, which are going to be accessible only to our members. So our platinum members actually going to be getting a free Oculus 2 headset to be able to communicate and meet with us in the metaverse. So if you are interested in that, make sure you guys check that out. And we'll see you guys next week.
Love it. All right, guys. Again, as you've heard, this has been Charkie from the Oakmont. If you want to follow them on Twitter, it's at the Oakmont. Hope you've enjoyed the session. And again, don't forget, tune back in next week for the next one. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace, peace.